Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angryprepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about nuclear readiness here in cities like New York. Anyway, guys, so upon getting ready for this video, which I pretty much studied or researched about a week ago, just before I got up here, the UN, I think Secretary General made made a statement saying that nuclear war with Russia is more possible. So I guess the closer we get to it happening, I guess people around the world are starting to realize the possibility of it actually happening. Now, I'm going to do a video on primary targets, guys. That means the places that are more likely to be hit first rather than cities like New York. A lot of people still thinking that old school thinking that cities are going to be first wave strikes. That is not so. We'll get into that in that video. But with this video, we're going to talk about the things to do to prepare for a possible nuclear strike if you live in a city. Now, some of you are going to sit there and say, the first way to get ready is leave. Yes, you're absolutely right. If you can leave because there's an imminent threat of an attack, I would absolutely do so. But if we get caught behind that curve, these are things that we have to establish if there is an attack. Now, guys, there's never been a nuclear detonation in a city like New York, or on American soil for that matter, other than the testing they did out west. New York City, or rather, sorry, United States has run different computer-generated scenarios as to what could happen. That is not even an exact science, guys. You got to keep in mind, computer-generated is theories, hypothesis. They're just trying to figure out what could happen and the likeliness of the damage and how bad it's going to be. Just like that nuke map that I gave you guys a link to look at. That's a possibility of what could happen. It gives us a better idea than knowing nothing at all. That's all it is. I know some of you guys look at nuke map and go, that's not accurate. Shut the fuck up. Enough already. It's getting close to accurate as possible. Yes, it's not accurate. Neither is the fucking 1,000 computer generated scenarios they ran on a nuke dropping on New York City or cities like New York. But nonetheless, it gives us an idea of what could happen and what might happen. Now, like I said, guys, if there's an imminent attack, it's better to leave and then, wait it out a couple days. And if nothing happens, you come back. But if you get caught behind that curve, if you get caught behind that line, the things you need to do when that happens is going to make the difference of whether you die or you live. We are going to rush past it and go right to the plume. The bomb just detonated. The flash is over. Thermal radiation fried through everything. Now you're going to get out of the hiding place you're hiding in, and look for the plume. If you are outside and you happen to duck behind something solid and look for the plume. The plume is going to let you know what direction to stay away from, meaning you're going to look at this big mushroom in the sky and you're going to go, oh shit, that's not the direction I want to go in. Now, if that was the direction you were going in, you're no longer going in that direction. You're not going around it. You're not going to go try to skirt it. You are staying away from that area because that area is highly radiated. So look for the plume and pay attention to the wind direction. If the wind is on your back as you're looking at the plume, you're in a good spot for now. That doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but you should get your ass moving to back home, rather. Once you get home, or if you're in your home already, immediately start covering your windows, all right? Break out the nuclear kit, start duct taping your windows with your pre-cut out plastic sheeting, guys, and duct tape them to the windows. Duct tape vents as well. If you have any cracks in the ceiling or any cracks by the seam in the sheetrock, duct tape that shit too. Duct tape anything that you think is going to leak or have fallout spread through it. The plastic sheeting, guys, is to stop fallout, the dust, not gamma radiation. I know some of you assholes sit here and go, it's not going to stop radiation. No shit, Sherlock. It's to stop the dust from coming in. Gamma radiation, guys, if you are that close to it, you need to get away from that area. You're not going to stop gamma radiation with plastic sheeting. It's obvious. That's why I talked about time distance shield on my live stream. The longer you're there, you have to create that distance and that time. So you got to shorten the time you're in that gamma radiation zone. You got to lengthen the distance away from that radiation zone. And then you got to find shielding. Now, time distance shield, guys, shield, you're going to have to find something like your clothing would be shielding from the fallout, but it will not be shielding from gamma radiation, right? So Understand that. This is to stop fallout, not gamma radiation. If you are in or near that area, you need to leave. Simple as that. Plastic sheeting is just to keep fallout from coming into your home. That's it. All right, guys, I will even go as far as duct taping my electrical outlet and my lighting fixtures as well, because there are cracks on the outside of the building. A lot of the time, guys, especially when it rains by me, water makes its way through. Now, if water's making its way through, I'm gonna assume air and fallout can make its way through it as well. So I would absolutely duct tape, if not plastic, around the lighting fixtures, and plastic and duct tape around the electrical outlets. Now, also, you're gonna wanna secure anything that needs to be secured outside. So if you live in a home, try to secure whatever needs to be secured, put away what needs to be put away. Keep in mind, you're gonna have fallout on it. If it's something that you need, put it away and put it inside something else. For example, for whatever reason, you were testing a generator and then this shit happens. Well, make sure your generator comes inside with you, or goes into the garage rather, sorry. Don't minimize your time outside if there's fallout. So if there's fallout and there's something you need to get done, make sure you cover yourself before you go outside. Make sure you put extra clothing on, or one of those hazard suits, or hell, even a Tyvek suit, and go outside and do what you need to do, but limit your time outside. Again, guys, this is in a last resort, oh shit, I'm on my own thinking. You are not going to sit there and, for example, if your kids are at school, you're gonna run and get your kids if they're close by. But if your kid's school is an hour away, if you can get to them, then you have to stay there. You can't come back home, right? And if they are a half hour away, wherever they are, guys, once you get to them, you should stay with them. Don't try to make it back home. Because if you try to come back home, you guys could come back home during the middle of fallout. And you don't want that, and you don't want to expose your kids to that. You don't want to expose yourself to it. So try to stay where you are once you get there. Now, in certain cases, those of you that live in the city and your kid's school is 5 minutes away or 2 minutes away or right across the street, run, get them, bring them home. I would even put plastic sheeting and duct tape around my doorway as well, because you don't want any of that stuff flowing in. You live in an apartment building, guys, you're gonna have people, undoubtedly gonna have people who got caught in the fallout. They're going to come back into that building. They're gonna go up and down the stairways. They're gonna be tracking that radioactive shit all over the building. So you might wanna also think about plastic sheeting and duct taping your doorways. While you have everything squared away, you're squaring everything away in your home, you need to come out with a decontamination zone, or area rather, because this is gonna be the more important part. If everybody who is outside of your home is now gallivanting, this happens, you can almost bet they're gonna come back home at some point. Now, if they are smart enough, and hopefully they are, they're gonna stay put until the fallout stops. But fallout could stop anywhere between 24, 48 hours up to 2 weeks. So if they stay where they are and you don't have to worry about them, that's great. But if they come home and they're covered in that shit, fallout, you're gonna have to come up with a decontamination protocol. Now, make sure, this is the one most important thing, guys, make sure there's a drain somewhere nearby. You do not want to decontaminate them, for example, in the hallway like my building. You don't want to decontaminate them because now you got radioactive water just puddling by your door or wherever you decontaminate them in the hallway. So make sure there's a drain somewhere where you can do it. If anything, make sure they brush all that shit off in the lobby of the building, off to the side, not in front. Brush all that shit off, bring them upstairs, and then have them washed down with soap and water. Cold water, preferably, to close off their pores, but get that shit off of them. The problem with this situation that we are in is that we've never faced anything like this. So a lot of us are going to be shooting from the hip. A lot of us are going to be war gaming this or thinking this out or playing chess with this. So this is just me trying my best to come up with scenarios on how to survive a situation like that. Because listen, we could be absent-minded and walk out there and have fallout fall on us and go, oh my God, it's snowing. There are idiots out there that are going to think that. I will almost bet my YouTube paycheck that there are people out there when it starts coming down, they go, oh my God, it's snowflakes. Okay, so those people doomed. But for the rest of us, we need to come out with protocols for things like this. Now, this is the protocol for me, and I'm going to fine tune it between now and whenever it happens. But I'm always thinking about how to better the situation. That's what we do. That's what preppers do. We better our situation. Shelter location, guys. This is probably one of the more important things. If you get caught outside in this shit and the bomb drops and the plume goes off and you were able to hide behind something and now you get up, you dust yourself up, now you're looking at the plume, you're like, oh shit. If you know you are too far from home to get home, your better bet is find a location where you can hole up in for a couple of days. I would venture to say, look at buildings that have fallout shelters still designated on them. Now, those fallout shelters, without a doubt, are going to be storage units. Fallout shelters here in the United States were decommissioned a long time ago, in the 80s rather, sorry. And with that, you probably could still find some of these places to be livable, or at least shelter in until you can make it home. But look for sturdy buildings. Look for brick, stone buildings. We have a ton of them downtown. Those are buildings you're probably going to want to look at when sheltering in place. Try not to go to these new hipster shit, thin construction, light construction buildings. Try to stay away from those. You know what they look like. They look like hipster buildings. If you're looking for a building to shelter in place, look for a man building. And you'll know when you see it, be like, holy shit, that is a man building. And that's a building you're most likely going to want to hide in. A lot of the buildings along the Central Park West, a lot of those buildings are old school. A lot of these brick buildings around here, old school. So those are buildings, even the projects, they're old school, they're sturdy, they're strong. These are buildings that you're going to want to contend with or look at. And guys, this is you trying to plan this out now. Don't when the shit happens, then you're scrambling looking for a building. Try to figure out what building you might want to hide in on your way home or your way to work, either or. But look for something that's going to protect you from the fallout more than anything else. Now, guys, this is all for nuclear bombs, but this also can go for, again, dirty bombs or even chemical attacks, right? Though with chemical attacks, the air itself can be contaminated depending on the chemical they used. So again, guys, you can almost apply this to any emergency as well. Hell, civil unrest. You don't have to find a sturdy building, but you need to find yourself a building that you can hide in, right? You want to know where the civil unrest is happening and stay away from this. So this stuff can sort of coincide with that, but this is mainly for the potentials of a nuclear bomb, because why? Shit, man, every day somebody's making a threat or somebody's realizing that the threat is more possible today than it was a week ago. Now, guys, for your nuclear kit, you're going to want to you want to have supplies already in your home. Plastic sheeting and duct tape goes without saying. Look for some thick plastic sheeting, guys. Make sure it's not that cheap, flimsy shit. And I'll probably put a couple links of the ones you should be looking at. Not that you have to buy those, but things you should be looking at, because you definitely need something a little more sturdy, a little more thick, rather. Sorry. Also, you don't want it to tear easy either. That's another reason why you're looking for fucking a heavier duty plastic sheeting. You're also going to want to go with, guys, flashlights, battery operated radio that has AM/FM transmissions that you can listen to, two-way comms, guys. That's very important. Cash, food, and water. Obviously, these things, the food and water should be in your stock already, but the extra flashlight, the batteries for the flashlight, the batteries for the radios, you should absolutely be stocking up on. The plastic sheeting as well, guys, you should stock up on that if you live in the city. Duct tape and potassium iodide. There are some places you can still get it, but if you can't get potassium iodide, I've been told and read a few times that you can take potassium iodine. So take that, and it has to have a 2% solution in it. I'll link a couple of those in the description section below as well. Now, the potassium iodide, guys, you can only take that anywhere between 10 to 14 days. So you can't take it constantly, and you should take it if you are exposed or about to be exposed to radiation. Meaning, if you're outside and you're near ground zero, you might want to take it. If you're sitting up here in Harlem, don't take it yet. If fallout is coming down, don't take it yet. Wait till you're exposed. Also, guys, if you are allergic to iodine, you should not take potassium iodide. Keep that in mind. If you're allergic to iodine, you cannot take potassium iodide. Now, guys, this is just a quick tip. Really doesn't, you take this how you want, but plants. If you're going to seal yourself in your home, plants that clean the air are not a bad idea. I know some people, they do it just because they want to keep the air in their home clean. It's the natural air purifier, if you will, which are plants. These plants, guys, are the plants that you should be looking at, and I'm going to read it off to you. ZZ plants, spider plants, Chinese evergreen plants, snake plant, dumb cane, peace lily, bird's nest fern, philodendrons, and arrowhead plant. These plants are low light plants, and they take very little water to keep them alive. So that you don't have to worry about using your water to keep them alive. They take very little water, guys, and they use very little sunlight. Hell, some of them you can even put by the plastic sheeting of that window, and that'll be all the sunlight it needs. right? So again, guys, these are things you should keep in mind. You don't have to get them, but maybe if you want to keep the air in your apartment or your house or that room you're in clean, maybe you should get a couple of these plants. Entertainment's also important, guys. If you have little ones, make sure you have entertainment in that nuclear kit, whether it's cards, board games, hell, even electronics at this point. Electronics that they can play just on their phone or whatever they're playing. Make sure that you have that squared away for them as well. You don't want to be stuck in a room or the hallway, for example, in my apartment, and then have nothing to do. Make sure you have entertainment. Make sure you have books, things you can read to keep yourself busy. For adults, it's going to be a lot harder to keep ourselves busy by reading and all this bullshit because we'd be concerned with what's going on outside. But for kids, you want to keep them entertained. You want to keep them quiet. You don't want to fucking have them running your last nerve because you're already on your last nerve in that situation. Right, guys? So other than that, hopefully these quick tips helped out. Thank you for watching.